What is going on, my Real Relay fam? And today we're going to be reviewing God of War Ragnarok and also a little bonus for you guys, the Valhalla DLC as well too. Super excited. This is going to be my candid review. Do I think it's worth it? Do I think it's the best in the series? Is this game even worth your time? I'm a long time God of War fan. I've played God of War 1, 2, and 3. Some games on the PSP, God of War 2018. So I've had my fair share of adventures with Kratos. This version of God of War though is the PC version. Without further ado, let's get into it. God of War Ragnarok picks up a few years after the events of God of War 2018. God of War 4, it's the fourth flagship game in the God of War series. That's what you need to know. It goes God of War 1, 2, 3, then 2018, aka God of War 4, then God of War Ragnarok, God of War 5, however you want to word it. Do you have to play God of War 1, 2, and 3? Not necessarily. You could probably just start with 2018 if we're being honest. Atreus and Kratos are back having to save the 9 realms. Ragnarok is coming. It's Fimbulwinter. Shit is about to get bananas. So I'll tell you the things that I liked about God of War Ragnarok. It's the character development. Kratos, the amount of self-development this guy's had is absolutely insane. He went from this like killing people just without even really like thinking it all through to being this inspiring stoic man, and honestly changed the way I've lived my life. And Atreus, I know that a lot of people don't really like Atreus for how annoying he is and sometimes he doesn't listen, but that's the whole point. He's a kid and he's learning too, and I will tell you he has grown a lot. You know, in this game it has like a parallel story, like, and it has, you know, you switch between Kratos, switch between playing with Atreus. You can see how those thoughts are very conflicting. So you got someone like Mimir who has been like picked up in this whole like Norse mythology, a great addition. I love his stories. He's funny, you know, he has great insight. He's just a great like side character to add, and I'm glad that they, you know, they've kept him along for the ride. My favorite though, you think about Brok and Sindri, right? The two dwarves, like comedic relief, but seeing them really kind of develop their characters in the second game, some really emotional moments with Brok and Sindri, those became the standouts for me. Through Thor's daughter, she's amazing as well too. I got a lot of ambition and hustle as well too. Reminds me, obviously it reminds me a lot of Thor, but she's got a little bit of a twist on her, which I really like. She really wants to become a Valkyrie. Freya, I'm not really the biggest fan of Freya. I thought her character was okay. Not the biggest fan of her. She's kind of annoying to me, honestly. I feel like she's just so bloodthirsty. I feel like she never really learns her lesson, to be honest. Freyr though, her brother, great dude, love him, funny. And then you got like the main villain in the game, you got Odin. Talk about one of the most manipulative characters I've ever seen on screen. I mean, he was a great villain. I hated that guy, and the fact that he uses Thor is just, oh my god, it's just so sickening to watch, to be honest. Honestly, the one I hated more than Odin was Heimdall. That dude is the most annoying bully I've ever seen. He sucks, but that's the point. He reminds me a lot of like Joffrey from Game of Thrones. Goes to show how well the character is made. And so those are the things I like. The character development is like what really stands out in God of War Ragnarok. The character development is great, but it's how it feeds into the story that makes it even better. When I think about some of the greatest single player games of all time, like story wise, I gotta put God of War up there. It's so well written. I mean, I just could not put it down. It was so addicting. It's got a share of emotional moments. It pushes the God of War series to brand new heights. There are some of the greatest speeches in this game, like even just one-liners or like life advice that have literally changed my life. Definitely left a mark on the community for sure. The graphics and the music just complete the entire package. When you get a great story with great character development, with beautiful graphics, especially playing on the PC in 4K, and you got this banging testosterone-filled music in the background, I mean, you couldn't ask for any more bang for your buck. Going to the gameplay, the last, you know, the very last piece that I love, it's all the intense action you can want in a God of War series, with satisfying deaths and killing and execution and all that type of stuff. You even got some weapon selection here as well. The axe, the chains, the spear, and you got the shield too. So you got a nice little like hit here, that's for sure. This game's got some tough bosses. I played Valhalla and God of War Ragnarok, both of them on the highest difficulty. Give me God of War. It is just as difficult as any From Software game. You will be challenged. That is not for the weak. I know people didn't really like playing as Atreus and some of the gameplay aspects. I really liked it. It switched it up for me, especially as he evolved and became into his own. I loved hearing his dialogue and what he thought about himself and his father and the journey on his own. You know, I love hearing what Kratos said when he was on his own, listening to everybody and like coming to everyone as a council and figuring like, like, what are we gonna do? And I will say in this game too, you get a lot of bang for your buck. Not only do you get the full God of War Ragnarok experience, but you also get Valhalla as well too, the DLC. All the post-game content from Ragnarok and New Game Plus and all the side quests and collectibles and extra bosses you can fight. There's a ton here. There's a lot of content packed into this game. Going into the things I disliked about this game. This is the PC port, right? The PC performance for the most part held up, but there were a lot of game crashes, like a lot. Frames were definitely a big issue, and even some pop-in graphics as well too. So the PC performance for the most part held through, but it definitely had its fair share of issues. The map, like the whole structure of how the map was made, difficult to read. Like in the actual menu, the map was kind of hard to read. I was like, how do I get to this point? Kind of confusing. The skills were cool, right? The skills in the skill tree, and like it gives you extra combos and stuff, but I felt like it could have been fleshed out just a little bit more. The menu was kind of basic. It wasn't like super well made. You could kind of tell they didn't put a lot of effort, I feel like, into like the skill tree, or like, honestly, I felt like they crammed a lot into this game. They could have low-key made a third game out of this game. I heard there was only gonna be two, right? There's only gonna be God of War 2018 and God of War Ragnarok, right? And Valhalla. That's pretty much it. There's not gonna be a third game, I guess, in this Norse mythology. So it did kind of feel like they crammed it all into this game, and sometimes it's kind of just like rushed through. My thoughts on the Valhalla DLC, like the Valhalla DLC was great. It's a great epilogue. There's already an epilogue in the game, but this is an even like better epilogue, and there's also another epilogue in the DLC as well too. The Valhalla DLC is basically Hades for God of War. It's just roguelike. You keep going through it over and over and over and over. You die, go back to the beginning, you level up, you go in, fight, you get XP, you get money, you come back out, you keep level. It's very addicting, and they have a lot of continued like character development for Kratos and Mimir, and it definitely played ode to the original God of War. At the end of it, Kratos put the bow on his personal development and said, I'm ready. And I felt that, and I felt like I was ready too. Those are the things I liked, things I disliked, my thoughts on the Valhalla DLC. But overall, my final thoughts and score of the game: God of War Ragnarok is hands down one of the greatest games I've ever played. The hardest part, the bar has been set so high, I'm not sure any other game will come close to delivering the same emotional punch. For real, like I was not okay after a few days after playing this. And was it the best in the series? Maybe not, but it was an outstanding game, packed with content, post-game material, and highly addictive DLC that kept me hooked. It made me feel things I didn't think a game could make me feel. It was an emotional roller coaster. I couldn't hold back the tears at some moments, and at others, I felt like an unstoppable, bloodthirsty god killer. I mean, for real. I mean, the end of this game, I almost like just completely lost it. Like it was like on the floor, like almost in tears. You know what I mean? Like this shit was fucking crazy. I ain't gonna lie to you guys. As a longtime fan, starting from God of War 1, seeing Kratos transform into a stoic hero who inspires those around him, and watching Atreus grow under his mentorship made me believe I could take on anything in my own life. Despite being set in like a fantasy world, this game resonated on such a personal level. It felt real in a way that few games manage to do in this day and age. Even with its technical issues, God of War is a must-play game. Just make sure you start with at least God of War 2018. And I'm going to be giving God of War Ragnarok and the Valhalla DLC a 9.5 out of 10. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of God of War. Let me know your thoughts. Check us out live. We're live every weekend. I'm in Miami, so Eastern time. We got more reviews coming out for you guys. Deuces. Peace.